Welcome back to the Growth Over Goals podcast. I'm your host, Jordan Montgomery. Today, I'm with Tyler Merritt and Jen Hatmaker. So excited to have these two guests. I'm going to tell you the story about how we bumped into, and I say we because I was with my 4-year-old daughter, Olivia, how we bumped into Tyler and Jen. Craziest story, but before I get to the story, I want to formally introduce two new friends who you probably know, but let me tell you quickly about Jen Hatmaker, and then I want to tell you about Tyler Merritt. Jen, you are an author, podcaster, speaker, advocate, educator, and mama. Jen, you're a 4-time New York Times best-selling author. I just want our audience to know, if you're not familiar with the publishing world and the author world, that's like next to impossible to do. It's a really big deal to make it once on that list. It's a really, really big deal to make it 4 times. So y'all should know this, that Jen puts out some amazing work, and that work has been recognized 4 different times by New York Times in the best-selling author space. Tyler, you're an actor, comedian, vocalist, speaker, author, and creator of the Tyler Merritt Project. Check this out, family. Tyler has a viral video that has 100 million views. You should go check it out. Tyler Merritt, just type in Tyler Merritt YouTube and it'll pop right up. Listen, our two guests today have a really special way of making people feel heard and seen. They've become 2 of my favorite follows on social media. We will add their social media handles in the show notes. They're authentic, they're engaging, they're funny, they're serious, they're uplifting, and they're downright awesome. Tyler, Jen, you're putting so much good out into the world. It's a joy, a true joy to have you on the Growth Over Goals podcast. We're just so glad that you're here. Welcome to the show.
That was nice. Like, can you really just come with us wherever we go and just walk in front of us and enter the room first and be like, attention, everybody. That was really nice. Thank you, Jordan. We're so happy to be here.
You didn't mention my New York Times bestselling book, but it's fun. Oh, my bad. I don't have any. Let alone 4.
My heart just sank there for a second. I'm like, did I just miss that? Did Jordan. I just whiff?
He's just going to give you crap the whole time. So just pretty much know that whatever comes out of his mouth is trash.
No, I love the fact that you were bragging about 4 times New York Times bestselling. Because I'm telling you, if I had 4 New York Times bestselling authors, that's the only thing people would know about me. I'd be like, yo, what's up? I have 4 New York Times bestselling books, and my name's Tyler.
It's a big deal. Hey, let me say this I'll add this to your bio, Tyler. You both do this for one another. But I love how you brag about Jen. Like, especially in male culture, I just feel like there's so many men who aren't willing to do that. And Jen, I know you do it for Tyler too, but I love what you just said there about the 4 times. Like, for real, that's a big deal. And people in your space know that. But I want our audience to know that. Like Jen has become one of the top authors in our country, in the world. It's a big honor. So so we wanted both of you to feel honored. We're honored that you're here. And I want to share a 1-minute story with our audience about how we met. Can I do that? Okay. Yeah, you must. Because this is cool that you're joining us. Like, it's not like, just so you know, we didn't go through like your agents or go through proper channels to book this podcast. What actually happened was this. Okay. I'm at a dance competition. You all know we have 3 daughters and a newborn son. At least some of you know that. And I'm at a dance competition for our 2 oldest daughters. And my sister-in-law walks back into the competition from this cupcake store. And she says, hey, check it out. Jen Hatmaker and Tyler Merritt are over at the cupcake store next door. And of course, you know, there's some conversation like rippling throughout the crowd, like, really? They're over there? Whatever. And I was planning on going to the cupcake store. And what I knew at the time was my wife is a big fan, been a huge fan of Jen's for a long time, has recently become a fan of Tyler's. And so I've become a fan of Jen and Tyler.
Sure.
And so my wife says, well, you can't go because I can't go. I got to go do hair and makeup. And I said, well, I'm going to go over there. I was going to take Olivia anyway, our 4-year-old, to the cupcake store. So I'm going. And then my sister-in-law, Jenny, says, I dare you to take a picture. And I'm like, I'm not going to take a picture. That's weird. They're trying to enjoy their time at a cupcake store. So I walk in, and here's what happens. I walk in with my 4-year-old daughter. She points to this design on the wall. We walk over to the design on the wall, and I quickly realize you're in your own section of like the cupcake store. This isn't like a walk-in, meet you at the counter.
That's right.
You're like over in this kind of private area, and I'm thinking like, shit, I'm about to be that guy. If I try to talk to them, it's very obvious that I went over there to talk to them. And then all of a sudden, Tyler Merritt says, yo, to my 4-year-old, I love those shoes.
Yeah.
And then he says, and I love your shoes. And I said, well, now that you went first, let me tell you this. We love you all. My wife loves you all.
That's
and
right.
And then Tyler says, can we take a picture? And we took a picture. And then I followed up and said, would you be on our podcast? And you said yes. And now we're here. So that's the story of how this conversation came to be.
Right.
And again, just want to say thanks for your generosity from a cupcake store to a podcast. Y'all are awesome.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, Jordan, here's the honest to God truth. Not that Jed and I are super bougie about this or anything about that, but we have done one other podcast together. Like we do a lot of podcasts, but rarely are we on together. And we were like, you know what? Let's do the Cool Shoes Guys podcast together. So yeah, man, we're glad to be here, bro.
Yeah,
I just love being the Cool Shoes guy.
We didn't know the fullness of that whole backstory with the picture dare and the whole situation. Like, you played it way cooler than that on that day.
It was a real thing. It was a real thing.
Yeah.
There was a drove of people about to come find you all, but I protected you. I told them way after the fact that you were there. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed your visit to Davenport, Iowa.
We did. We certainly did.
Did you? Tell me your favorite thing about your Iowa experience. What's your favorite thing about Iowa?
I'll tell you, I know mine. Go ahead, baby.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Okay, so first of all, I never knew exactly where I was. First, I'm the worst with geography. Let me be really clear. I'm the worst. I watch Jeopardy nightly, and if there's a geography category, I just throw that to the side. Okay. But I think you guys are called Quad Cities. Is that what it is?
Cities.
Quad Cities. You got it.
Quad Cities.
Come on.
Okay. Which means that there's 4 different cities that we could be in at any one time, correct?
Yeah.
That's right.
Okay. As I sit here, can't tell you what those 4 cities are, but in one of those 4 cities, there was this off restaurant. Know this about Jen and I, because I'm a vegetarian and Jen tries her best to take care of me. When we are out of town together, we will seek out a place that has some sort of veggie burger or a veggie menu. And we ended up going to a place that I wish for the life of me I could remember the name of the place. But it seemed like off kilter a little bit. It was out next to a hotel off a highway. We went in for a late dinner and met this chef there. I call him a chef, but a cook there.
Oh yeah, baby.
And he made
twin something
in the Quad Cities.
And we drove a bit. We drove out to through some cornfields. It took us 20 minutes to get there.
The Iowa experience. You got to be out in the cornfield.
You would never have seen this place. It's in a strip mall.
But it was at night. It was at night. So do we really know we're kind of saying we were driving through cornfields. I don't know. Everything looked the same at the moment. But I do remember that there was a 24-hour donut place right next to that place. But that's neither here nor there. Moral of the story is this guy made a Beyond Burger jalapeno cheese thing that to this day, I still think about. I came home and tried to remake it. We became friends with the guy. I sent him a picture on Instagram of my version of the burger. So Iowa left a long-lasting food impression on a brother's heart.
Let's go. Hey, commercial, Tyler Merritt. We're going to cut this up and send it to this restaurant. I wish I knew. I live an hour away, full disclosure.
I'm going to find it, and don't worry about it, everybody. I'm going to hook us up.
Okay.
Are you ready for my favorite thing?
I'm ready, Jen. Come on. Yep.
This is easy and absolutely singularly worth the trip back, which is the store called Raygun.
Oh,
Raygun.
Yes. Yeah. Raygun is so cool and so funny and so clever and so ironic. I think me and Tyler spent an hour in there. I'm not kidding. I came home with 3 shirts. One of them I wore on the 4th of July recently, and it said America Needs Pizza. And the whole thing was just I cornered the poor people who worked there, and I was like, tell me more. Who's the owner? Is this a franchise? Would you be interested in the Texas location? They're like, God, I don't know. I work for minimum wage. I don't know. But it was such a great store. We dropped a lot of money in there. And anytime I come back to that area, I'm going. In fact, I've had to now link Ray Gun t-shirts in social media several times because people are like, wait a minute, where did that shirt come from? Because one of my shirts says, I don't know what the hell is going on. And every time I wear it, people are like, how can I have that? I'm like, I have a link.
I love it.
There was so
it.
much stuff in that store that we did not buy.
But
we went there, left, and came back. Remember?
Yes, we did.
Amazing.
We had to return something. We exchanged it. That was, man. Iowa kind of showed out, all things considered. Yeah. I'll be honest with you, Jordan. I'm going to be honest with you, man. We go to our favorite place to go in the United States is New York City. And so we spent a lot of time in New York City. So when we go together somewhere else to smaller towns, when it was like, we're going to go to Iowa, we weren't keeping it 100. We weren't like Iowa's going to blow us all away, but Iowa kind of showed out, man.
Yeah, we had a blast.
I love it. Well, I love that when I asked you that question, Tyler actually started with, I said, what do you love about Iowa? He said, I didn't really know where I was.
Okay,
that. I love that.
Also, he's not exaggerating.
That's an honest response. It's an honest response. Hey, Ray Gun, we're going to send you some Ray Gun shirts. Thanks for giving Ray Gun some love. It's also one of our favorite stores. We love Ray Gun.
Yes.
I'm going to figure out this infamous restaurant in the Quad Cities. We'll tag them too. I wish I knew it off the top of my head, but I don't. But thank you for showing love to Iowa. And real quick, Jen, before I forget, you're coming back to Iowa soon,
that's right?
August 3rd?
Soon. I'm going to be there on August 3rd, and I'm going to tell you where specifically. I am speaking at the annual fundraising luncheon for the Family and Children's Council of Black Hawk County. Really incredible organization working with kids and families in the county on basically abuse prevention and then if needed intervention. And so I'm super excited to come. An incredible director, and it's going to be a really fun day, sort of centered on women's empowerment, but in support of and in love of and for the kids. So
awesome. All right, August 3rd, y'all heard it. So don't
Cedar
show
Falls.
up in droves and bang on windows. Just maybe, but you could come through, and I might be there. Of course. Thanks for coming back, Jen. I will miss you both. And I'm glad that you had a good visit. Hey, let's get into some good conversation today. This is a leadership podcast. You two cover so much ground. I think part of what makes you so interesting is you've both been through a lot. And the way that you talk about your journey and describe the different things in life that you've been through, I think allows people to feel connected to you in a really unique way. And so I would love for our listeners, some people know this, some people don't, but I would love for them to hear about how the two of you got together. And there's something that I heard Tyler share recently, something specific, Jen, that he was really intrigued by and attracted in about you. And I want to draw attention to that too, because I think this has a lot to do with your brand. But let's start with how did Tyler Merritt and Jen Hatmaker come to be?
Daddy, you want to kick it off?
You can go ahead.
Okay. Well, first of all, worth noting is that we come from completely different adult experiences. Totally. Literally in every category. So I was married for 26 years, which is forever. Tyler's never been married. I have 5 kids. He doesn't think he has any.
I think it's still out there.
Yeah. So, we just built totally different adult lives, and he lives in Nashville and I live in Austin. And so it's so funny. On paper, we're hilarious, but, I was divorced and had not dated. I just wasn't there yet. I was still kind of in recovery, honestly. And really on the downslope of recovery, to be fair. And so I was in New York for work, and I was with my publicist, my longtime publicist. And we had a bunch of stuff going on. And at the end of all of our meetings, she was like, well, do you want to head back to the airport together? We could share a cab. I said, you know what? I think I'm actually going to stay one more night. Like, I'm already here. I kind of want to see a show. I didn't even have tickets yet. I was just like playing fast and loose. I'm like, I actually want to see Waitress. I've never seen it. And Jennifer Nettles is playing the lead right now. And that feels fun. So, and she's like, we're sitting at like some place eating. And she's like, oh, do you know what? It's so weird. I have a brand new client. Like, I think baby, you were maybe like a week old. I mean, it was brand new.
It was that day. I signed with her that day.
Oh my, okay. See, that's absurd. I have a brand new client, and he texted me today that he's actually in New York by himself too. And he's going to go see Waitress tonight. She's like, should I connect you? And I was like, sure. Why not? Like, I don't care. And so all of a sudden we're like in each other's phones, and I'm assuming, he's just like a single guy at our age, alone in the city going to see musical theater. He's gay. Yay, fun. A new fun gay friend. And so I texted him and I'm like, do you want to meet for drinks beforehand? I didn't know he didn't drink yet. Chalk that up for another different point in a different column. And so he's like, sure. And so we meet at the Renaissance Hotel right there in the theater district before the show. Tyler buys me a ticket for the show, just shows up in my phone like magic, like a ticket fairy. And we meet beforehand. And it was real obvious, real quick that he was certainly not gay. And
thanks, baby. I appreciate that. I think it's a little bit of insult to me considering how fantastical gay people are. And I feel like, I'm a little.
Well, you certainly could be. You could convincingly suggest that you are.
What do you call it, Tyler? Gay on paper?
Gay on paper.
That's
right.
That's
That's right, Jordan.
Yeah.
So we just, from second one, didn't have a single unconnected minute. Like, it was just conversation back and forth and zip and zip and zip and zip. We had so much in common, even though on paper we were so different. So many similar story arcs, a ton of crossover because our lives are ancillary. And and we were like, woo, okay. And so we saw the show, and I was heading home the next morning. Now, Tyler has a different take on this piece, because he invited me to stay. I genuinely couldn't. As mentioned, I have 5 kids. And so, Tyler, you can tell your part of the story there, but it was something. And we were like, it just kept looking at each other like, well, look at you. Like, look at your deal that you're walking around the world like. And it made a little connection that day that was in like really late October. And it sort of fanned. Well, we had each other's cell numbers. Hell. So all of a sudden it's a few texts. And then it's like, want to talk on the phone like the olden days? And that was a 4-hour phone call.
Yeah.
And
let's go.
On and on it went. What do you want to add that I've left out there, baby?
So I'll say this. The piece, Jordan, that you mentioned that I think is important, or that kind of picked up on Jen, that kind of attaches with who she is as a person, is when we got to that restaurant, the server, which this is the same. This has not changed with who Jen and I are. It is no different. She is currently right now on a thing called Me Camp, where she goes to a random place in the world and spends some time alone and then brings some people out with her. And every day she texts me and tells me who her new friends are, who she met at a bar, who the server was, this, that, and the other. But that specific night in New York City, by the time I got there, she had kind of known who the server was, meaning that that person who was bringing her a drink wasn't just someone who was there to serve her or to, but she recognized that person as a person, recognized who they were, spoke to them. And that's my people. That's my language. That's who I am. I would even say, I would think Jen would argue that I may be even more so that way, in that Jen will be like, come on, babe, we got to go. Like, stop talking to dude there in the elevator. And I saw that, and something about that just clicked with me. But I'll be really honest with you. And I think this is encouraging for anybody who's listening to this, who is single or is in the dating world now. Because I wasn't out there dating. I've never been on a dating app. I wasn't out there like trying to seek somebody out or find my person. Instead, I was just really paying attention to the person who was in front of me at that moment. And Jen's right. We connected, but and I would argue to say we were both attracted to each other because she's absolutely beautiful. And there was that, but in that moment, I was just attracted to her as a person, as a real life, breathing, awesome, fantastical individual. And when we ended the night and I asked her to stick around, it wasn't like I was like, hey, girl, you want to stay in New York City with me? It was really more like I planned this trip by myself and I was going to be here alone. But the past 3 hours has been so great. I don't know what you're doing, but I'm here till Sunday. Like, we can do some more of this. And at the time, it wasn't even romantic. It was just like, let's kick it. And I think a part of the reason, because it wasn't romantic, this is where I think we differ a little bit. I think because it wasn't, we joke now about how she was like, baby, if I knew, I would have stayed. And I'm like, no, you had adult things you had to go do. Like, you wouldn't have stayed because you had to go and do things. But the connection there was undeniable. And the desire to just want to spend more time, I think, mattered. And eventually that connected. So that's just an encouragement to anybody who is out in the world looking for to date somebody, or paying attention, really looking at the person who is standing in front of you can really make an impact with the people you're with.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard you say in the past when you told this story, Tyler, you're like, man, I saw, Jen, that you see people. Like, you saw that server. You see people. And I want you to know that I see that I see that you see people. And that meant something to you. I think one of the things plaguing so many people in America today, plaguing leaders today, this is a leadership podcast, is maybe the inability to see people fully for who they really are. And so I would love the two of you to maybe even get a little bit practical and speak to some leaders who are maybe doing a great job of that, but want to do better, or maybe who are struggling with that. Like, it might be there's certain people on their team that just don't feel valued, don't feel seen, don't feel heard. You two live this out because of who you are. It's just who God created you to be. And I think you do it so naturally and organically. But there's somebody listening that's going like, man, I wish I could be more like that. Like, what is it that Jen Hatmaker does, or what is it that Tyler Merritt does that allows them to make people feel seen and heard? So could we get a little bit practical, and could you speak to some folks about what allows you to do that well, and maybe even some things that you tend to do or think about that allows you to, for people around you to feel valued and seen?
Yeah, that's a great question. I love that you're asking it. I think that when, as a leader, you have baked into the sauce the practice of deeply seeing and hearing the people that you work with or who work for you, with your partners in any way, it just has a profound effect on morale. This is one of my absolute North Stars. Anybody who works in the Jen Hatmaker ecosystem will tell you that as I sort of lead my team, in one way or another, I am constantly saying some version of people first. That I want when a partner chooses to work with us for any reason, and that is in 1,000 categories. When we are done with that thing, I want them to walk away and say, that team was delightful. Everyone treated me with so much like care and respect and dignity. I want no other outcome than that, ever. Even if it's a clunky partnership, or even if something goes sideways, which it does because life. And so one thing I've learned as a leader is it 100% starts with you, obviously. I mean, I'm stating an obvious fact right now. But as you grow in leadership and as your team grows, you have to be mindful that the bandwidth of that will outpace you as a single person. Yes. At some point, you only have so many hours in a day to see and hear everybody in the ecosystem. And so what matters is that you are creating that culture. That is the model that you set, that is the example that you set. And then what happens is it trickles down. And so the people that are in leadership over their divisions, over their departments, over their teams, over their projects, it's infectious in the best possible way, where they go, oh, this is the way we talk around here. Like, we'll spend 10 minutes just burning the first hour of a conference call doing a check-in. That's standard protocol. And after a while, that's just muscle memory. We wouldn't imagine anything else. There is no moment where a person is not first on the team, where their role is first or their task is first. And so I think the modeling and then really empowering the rest of your people, like, this is how we do it. And I've had to course correct before. Like, I had a longtime partner that I don't still work with anymore, but he was a representative of mine out in the world, which is a big deal when someone is representing who you are and your work. And earlier on in our partnership, I remember I had to just say, you're so good at what you do. You're so good at what you do. This is fantastic, but I need a little less like bulldog when you're talking to our partners and a little more Mother Teresa. So I just needed I need the edges softened. I remember saying, let's do a nice sandwich. Let's start with the nicest thing you can think of to say, then say your little point of business, and we're going to come back. So, don't be afraid to get in the mix too and say, hey, this is something I'd like to discuss or correct or, find out more about. And so what do you want to add to that, Tyler?
So good.
Yeah, I just want to piggyback off it and say, and this is all kind of in the same world. I think it's highly important as leaders that we remember this very simple thing that all of us know that is an elephant in the room and is real and true, but the simple fact that all of us are living actual, real, full lives outside of that leadership moment with someone, right?
Yes.
So if you're part of the Tyler Merritt Project, if you're a part of a work environment or whatever, it has to be important to me to know that before you stepped in and clocked in, you may have been dealing with your kids. You may have been dealing with your wife or your partner. You may have lost someone in your family. You may be dealing with some sort of church hurt. You are a full, whole, actual person. And sometimes it becomes really easy in leadership positions to just look at the people around you and go, here are the tasks at hand. This is what we need to check off and get done. But in the midst of that kind of checking off tasks, we forget to recognize the fact that the people doing these tasks have their own checklists to take care of.
Yes.
And myself as a leader, what's my role in making sure that they are as successful in all those other things as they are in the moment that they're here with me, which is just tying in with what Jen is saying, with being people forward first and being able to see who individuals are. And I think that seeing people more, recognizing people's stories, their backstories, what their everyday is like, that only fuels us, Jordan, to be better people and better leaders. It genuinely fuels us to want to work harder to be able to take care of the individuals that are in our circle, which then encourage us to take care of the world.
And it's good for the bottom line too. Like if you don't even if you have a heart of stone, a black little heart of stone, you're like, people last, I don't even care. That's fine. But if what you care about is economics, if what you care about is ROI, productivity, effectiveness, this is the best way to run the most effective company. Because when your people are healthy, when they are cared for, when they feel like an integral part of the team, when they're valued and appreciated, they work better. And the outcome is better and the team runs better. There's less conflict to manage. You're taken out by less drama and distraction. And so even if your baseline is simply the bottom line, this is still the right approach. So
that's so true. And I'm glad you made that point.
It also passes over, Jordan, into the DE&I space as well, right? Where if you are paying attention to the people that are around you, you begin to ask yourself, are there people in leadership that look like the individuals that are on my team? Or does my team just look one certain way? And if that's the case, how can I help change that? Who are the people that are in power that are making real decisions here, that are actually calling people to action? Do I have incredibly strong women on my team, or vice versa? You know, are there people in my circle that are different than myself? And then if they are, am I listening to what they're saying and understanding their needs, which then make me a better person? Because I'll tell you right now, I'm going to give you an example really quick. I was on a call talking to a major company one time, and I was speaking to the group, and one of the main leaders, one of the CEOs, came on and asked in the chat. They were like, "Hey, Tyler, I'm so glad that you're here as a Black man in America. I have some questions that I would love to ask you that I just haven't had the ability to ask before, and I just want to address you as our special guest." And he asked me a question or two. My response to him was, because I could see on the call that there were a ton of Black women on this call, a ton, like a ton, even though I was leading. And my response to him was, I want to encourage you to ask any of these people that are on your team. Like, they're here.
Yes.
And you say that you're finally taking advantage of this opportunity. Bro, this opportunity has been here in front of you the whole time. And after we got off that call, so many of those individuals on the call reached out to me personally and were like, "Tyler, thank you. No one ever asks me, and I'm right here. I'm waiting for them to ask." So I think that that ability, that bottom line to just look and see the people around you, plays over in all the spaces of leadership.
So good. I heard you say a couple things, and it made me think about this quote. Craig Rochelle was on our show recently, and he said this, and it makes me think about what you just shared. You'll never be a leader that others love to follow unless you're a leader that loves people. And I think the two of you really just genuinely love people. I think you try to love people where they're at, meet them where they're at, embrace who they are, help them embrace who they are. And I also heard you say this, that more is caught than taught. Like, you're living this out. Jen, like when you were sharing about this conversation that you had with this sort of bulldog type leader, like there is a time to teach and instruct, but I think so much of it is just living it out, right? And more is caught than taught. And when you build that, you'll build a culture that then helps build people. So I want to move on to a separate topic, and we've got 10 minutes before we land this plane. I could talk to the two of you for a half a day, and we would never run out of things to talk about.
For sure.
Part of what you're known for, both of you, is, and I think vulnerability is an overused word, but that's what it is. It's vulnerability, it's authenticity. And you make people feel connected because they see you and they go, wait a minute, Jen is real. Like Tyler's real. Like they're talking about real things. And sometimes even really simple things, just ordinary things about parenting, or challenges that you faced, or a story or an experience that you've been through. Why do you think leaders in today's world are struggling with vulnerability and authenticity? And then what advice would you give to folks who are trying to be more open, trying to be more vulnerable or authentic with their people? Because the two of you do that so well. And I want our listeners to lean in. And I don't even know what you're going to share. None of this is scripted. But I want to hear you talk about authenticity and vulnerability, why it matters to you.
You want to go, Becky?
Sure. I'm going to speak very specifically, Jordan, from the male world. Please. Because I think it's wildly different. And what Jen and I do is we tend to be we're vulnerable in our speaking and the way that we talk to people. But on the page, her and I are wildly vulnerable. So when we begin to write, we really kind of tell our truths, right? And so in my book, there are moments that I am increasingly vulnerable to the point where even my editor was like, are you sure you want to have these stories in this book? The reason why I bring that up is because it's different for men. Women somehow, now let me be really clear. Jen can obviously speak to all of this, but there's something about when women share their hearts, their stories, the moments that they've been broken, other women want to come around, connect with them. They want to hear, they're like, I feel seen in that. You're speaking directly to me. There's something about being vulnerable as a woman amongst women. Now, it's different in the world. We know that oftentimes women have to put on so many things to be strong in the world, but amongst women, that vulnerability works in a way that is magical and healthy and therapeutic. And amen, sister, and I see you. But for guys, there just aren't that many books out there where guys are like, I'm shitty. Or, you know what I mean? Or like, there's a million books out there that are like, hi, I'm a man. Let me try to tell you, here's a how-to book. Or this is what you should do in the world, especially amongst Christian men, just to be really honest. Christian men put out these books that are like, hey, let me tell you the abundance that God has given me. Rarely are men stepping up to the plate and going, I hurt. And not only do I hurt, let me tell you, a lot of this hurt was brought on because of what I've done. I've recovered, and I've recovered that because of therapy. Or I've had my heart broken before, and I've learned to be a better person and to take care of people better because of where I've been. Men don't always have that advantage. And no, let me be clear. The advantage isn't the right word. Men don't always have that, feel that there is strength in that. And so they don't put that out into the world. And in my opinion, I think being vulnerable as a male leader is not only what other men need, but it allows for women to lean in a little bit more as well. My audience is hugely women. It's probably because I'm just really hot. But outside of that, I think one of the reasons why that is because there's a little bit of safety here in knowing that I have zero hesitation to say, to look at myself and try to be vulnerable where I'm at. Hopefully we can walk in that together.
So good. And that just connects with me. That resonates so deeply, Tyler, what you just shared. In working with, especially, a lot of our work is in the world of sports with young men. Yeah. So there's this tough exterior with a lot of young men who walk around and act like I've kind of got things figured out. Not only do I have things figured out, but let me talk to you about how to figure it out.
Sure.
Which can be so toxic and dangerous. So Jen, I want you to weigh in on this as we land the plane. And by the way, I'm just going to mention this. Sometimes your vulnerability isn't about sharing all the deep, dark, like big things. Like the other day I saw you made the video about like mocktails. Yeah. And I think it's like, hey, I'm willing to talk about simple, really ordinary things that I love that don't have to be like earth shattering or interesting. Yeah. Like part of what works for the two of you is you just talk about life and like, this is a thing that I like and maybe you like it too. And I want to share this with you. I think a lot of people get caught in that trap of like, I got to share the big thing, that's going to like impact or provide value. And when I think about your content and a lot of what the two of you are putting out into the world, there are a lot of those big things, but there's a lot of simple stuff too that I think resonates because it's simple, it's relatable, and it's ordinary. So anyway, Jen, with that, I'd love for you to share about authenticity and vulnerability.
I mean, that is the through line for my work for sure. Tyler is sometimes like, man, you just say it all. I'm like, I know. I'm not doing a thing. Like that's not a shtick. I'm not doing a strategy. This isn't me like whatever. This is literally how I am. I do not have another gear. I don't. And Tyler is right that largely, and I don't know which came first, the chicken or the egg here, but in my community, at least, vulnerability and transparency is highly coveted and it's rewarded. And it's connective and it's valued. And so if the conversation for me around to be vulnerable or not to be vulnerable is very far in my rearview mirror. That is not my standard operating procedure. I really do not know how else to be. I genuinely do not. And so I can tell you that it does create a beautiful community. And to your earlier point, Jordan, and I've had to learn this too, because I just, in recent history suffered a lot. And I suffered publicly because my life is public, which means all of it. Like there is no version of me that just doesn't mention that I'm getting divorced after 26. That doesn't, my brand, I hate that word, but my brand is my life and my story and my people and my family and my friends. And now my boyfriend, lucky guy, he's like, I do not post this much. I'm like, I know, this is part of what I do. Like, this is part of my community. But I have learned that there is a beauty in putting that out in a genuine way. But to like you mentioned earlier, there is a difference between secrecy, which I would say is largely marked by shame or hiding, and privacy, which is marked by discretion. And we all get that. We all have the right to privacy.
It's good.
And that doesn't mean we're hiding anything. It doesn't mean we're keeping a secret. It doesn't mean we're being fake. It just means that a wise person has discretion over what parts of their life they put out into the world. And so I walk that line really, it's razor thin. I don't know. I mean, I probably hit it at about the 61% mark. I have no idea. But I don't know another way to be. And it's been a great joy to me because I have found authenticity and vulnerability highly attractive. And I mean that in the truest sense of the word, in that in the same way it does for me, when someone is vulnerable with me, that does not push me away from them. It draws me to them.
Yes.
I feel like, oh, okay, you are a safe person. You are having a real life experience. You are saying real words about it. You're not just shining it up or polishing up or like, oh, tra-la-la, could be worse. That makes me feel lonely. But when someone says, this is the true thing, this is the true way that it feels, whether it's hard or uncomfortable or painful or whatever, that is attractive to me. And so that's the way I've built a community. And it's kind of back to your first question, Jordan. You set the model as the leader, and that becomes the culture of your community. And I have found that to be true in business, and I have found that to be true on socials. That this is how we treat each other with care. And this is a safe place, and you can say your real shit here, and we will hold it with gentle hands and be kind and good to your heart. And you do that enough times, and that's just how it is. That is just, everybody knows. If you don't like, and I don't even have to police it anymore. My own community does their own internal policing. Nobody gets to come in with their garbage. And literally nobody. When I see somebody post something and I'm like, oh man, she's about to have a bad day. This is not going to go well for her. Like, I don't need to defend myself. No, they're all going to be like, we don't talk like that here. And so it does work. It's a long game. It's a really long game. It's a long road in the same direction.
Yes.
And so it's not any one moment that you say something vulnerable. It's 1,000 of them strung together. And that creates an entire ethos.
I think you have, Jen, so all the men that are listening to this podcast right now, I beg them to listen to what Jen just said. And talking about vulnerability being attractive, vulnerability being the thing that brings people in. Again, women are fantastic at that.
Yeah.
You know, and men, there's still such a, of course I can't speak on behalf of all men, but there's still just this thing of feeling like when we are vulnerable, that vulnerability equals weakness. We rarely think about how that vulnerability equals attraction, which I think is such a fantastic way to look at being vulnerable, especially in leadership.
Men are no less tender than women. That's a trope. It's not real. It's not true. They don't suffer less. They don't hurt less. They don't care more. They don't feel, or they don't care less. They don't feel less. I raised 3 sons and 2 daughters. And I walked upstairs to those boys under the covers, crying their eyes out with their love letters clutched to their chest after a breakup, just as much as the girls. Like boys have gotten a raw shake here. They really have. And then they grew up into men and didn't have anywhere to go. But it is attractive, not just for other women, but for other men to see a man stand kind of wholehearted in front of their people. And I'd love to see that shift. I'd love to see more men feel safe in their own skin and in their own story. I think that would change the way we're raising our sons and our daughters, and certainly change the next generation.
No question. And I want to encourage the 2 of you as we sign off, like, you're living this, and you don't even there isn't a strategy, and you don't have to teach it or instruct people because you're living it. And people are seeing this in you. And, it's fun because this week, as we're preparing for this conversation, we're just talking about the 2 of you. And my wife said, of all the people that we've interviewed or had on our show, like, I would hang out with Jen Hatmaker and Tyler Merritt. They'd be like, that's the top. They'd be the top draft pick. But really what she was saying is, I feel more connected to them than anybody else that you've interviewed. That's really what she was saying. And I think there's this idea that we can impress people with our strengths, but we connect to them through our weakness. Yeah. And the 2 of you are putting your weakness, your life, your real full life on display for people to see. And you're doing it in a thoughtful, mindful, conscious way. And it's attractive. And I don't think it's just attractive to certain types of people. I would argue, I think it's attractive to all people. Vulnerability begets vulnerability. We want to be around people who are real and authentic, and you are that. And so just know this as we sign off. We're behind you. We are for you. We're keeping tabs on you. And we are on the Tyler Merritt, Jen Hatmaker train for the right reasons. And so just want to say
before
thank
you
you
sign
again.
off, thank you for that, Jordan. And I want you to know that does not land softly with Jen and I. That means a lot because there are a lot of people that would like to not be on our train. So thank you. But 2 things. One, your wife, how is she? Is she good? Because I feel like the whole reason we're here has to do with your wife, and we have not talked about her enough. I'm surprised she didn't show up on this podcast. I'm a little bit disappointed about that. I was expecting that at least on some level. Yeah. Is she good?
She's awesome. She's great. And we have 4 young children. Yeah. And so she's momming it today. They're all at the park. Tyler, thank you for asking. She'll be honored that you asked. And she has a very similar story to Jen. There'll be a future conversation and maybe a double date down the road. We want to understand how we can add value to the 2 of you. But Tyler, thank you for asking that question. She's great. She's awesome.
Awesome. Secondly, the place is called Twin Span Brewing, where I found that.
Oh, baby, good job.
Come on. It. Well done, Tyler. He's got it. He's got it. Hey, thank you for elevating Ray Gun and Twin Span. Is that it?
Twin Span.
Thank you. Like shining a spotlight, making much of others, and doing it in the great state of Iowa. God bless you both. You're a blessing. And thank you also for, out of a cupcake store meeting, taking time to get on a podcast and share thoughts and conversation. And Jen, you're doing it at Me Camp, where you're supposed to be just finding time for yourself. So I'm going to be in touch. I want to honor your time. We do want to better understand how we can serve the both of you moving forward. I'm going to follow up on that question in a deeper way. And just again, want you to know that we're behind you and rooting for you always.
Thanks, Jordan. Could talk for 10 hours. Never run out of content.
Well, listen, welcome. there's just God has given you so much wisdom and a lot of life experience to help other people. So thank you for spending your time, energy, and treasure on things that matter. I just believe that you're doing that, and we want to spend time with people like that. So thank you. This has been another episode of the Growth Over Goals podcast. I'm your host, Jordan Montgomery. Thank you for listening. Thanks for being here. If you found any value in this episode, I would love it if you would rate, review, subscribe to this podcast in an effort that we might move our mission of impact forward. I also want to say thank you to our producers, John Choate and James Roth of Storyline Multimedia, for all of the work that they do behind the scenes to make this podcast go. Be well, be great. Have a wonderful day.